morning everyone. Today I'm going to discuss a pressing issue in our community, the digital exclusion among Hong Kong's elderly. When we think of smart city, we often think of efficiency, high-tech convenience, but let's look at the reality of our elderly. While the rest of our city will move forward with rapid digitalization, our seniors are left behind in a great digital divide in our communities. That is not just about convenience, it is a systematic deprivation of their right to access to the essential services. Let's look at the problem itself. There exists a common misconception that since 90.7% of Hong Kong elderly nowadays own their own smartphones, the problem is solved. But this is actually an illusion of ownership. The severe usage gap still exists, which means that although they own their own devices, they cannot use them effectively, especially to use them for e-banking and e-health services. So my thesis today is to combat the deadly social isolation caused by digital exclusion. Hong Kong must shift from hardware subsidies to targeted intergenerational training and age-friendly designs. And further, I would like to talk about the main cost of this problem and the two solutions to address this. First, let's look at the main cost of it. According to Guo, mobile internet users report 33.1 lower loneliness than others. Conversely, the social isolation increases the heart disease by 32%, by 29%, and stroke by 32%, according to Legislative Council Secretariat. So to address this, the most common solution, my first solution is financial aid and hardware provisioning. That is what our current policy focus on. For example, the Hong Kong government nowadays distributes free smartphones to low-income elderly, according to the news. However, this solution actually has some obvious drawbacks. As I have mentioned before, owning a smartphone not directly equals to have the ability to use a smartphone effectively. Most of the elderly, they are fear of online scams, and due to the operational complexity and the fear of making mistakes, they are less likely to use the mobile internet themselves. So this leads to my stronger solution, which is empowerment through training and design. First, we need intergenerational training. By mobilizing young volunteers to give them face-to-face patient coaching, we will make them to reduce their cognitive load and technophobia, build the long-term confidence. Secondly, we need to implement some age-friendly interface design. Specifically, we need to implement some larger fonts, simplify navigation and high fault tolerance. This will lower the entrance barrier, ensures they can access these services effectively. So in conclusion, the hardware only is not enough to address this problem. What we should do is to combine the intergenerational training and the age-friendly design to bridge the great digital divide among us. So by doing so, we can make our Hong Kong a smart city which can include everyone, regardless of their age. Thank you. Please feel free to.
Okay, thanks very much for discuss how to solve the hardness the elderly person use smartphone. So I think in your solution 2.1 here you talk about the intergeneration training. So my question is why we have to use the young volunteer, just taught the old people face-to-face, but not use something like a video or just AI generated tools to help them do so. Thanks for your time.
Okay, so thanks for your question. As I have mentioned before, the main cause for there is the fear of making mistakes. I think by face-to-face coaching, they can not only teaching them to tap what to tap, but also can give them long-term confidence. And the main problem, I think, for videos to train them is that the video, they lack some warmth training. Anybody else?
If you haven't asked a question yet, I suggest you start asking questions soon. Remember, you're being graded on that as well. Anyone? Question? Okay. So what would the cost difference be between solution 1 and solution 2? Which one was, so solution 1 is providing hardware. So would solution 2 be more cost effective as well?
Yeah, the solution 2 is main focus on the software. For example, the training and the design.
So where would this training take place?
The training, we can set up some activities on the society in the neighborhood where there exists lots of seniors.
Would this be a government program, or would this be dealt with by NGOs or outreach programs?
Both government and NGOs, they can provide this, and they can invite some young volunteers to do it.
Okay, thank you.